lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
For some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Big Mike Sports Bar and Grill here in Denham Springs on Aspen Square. Welcome to Monday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff, Jimmy Ott, Jordan Kitchens back in the studio. We have it's an off week for LSU. That means no Brian Kelly press conference. It's normal, by the way. Every off week they don't have a press conference. So we're in our customary 11 o'clock slot today, and we will go straight through to 1 o'clock. Kelly will be back next Monday. Glad to have you with us after a fun weekend. That's the word I came up with yesterday before we did Football Sunday, and that's the word I'm sticking with, a fun weekend. If for all of the lousy matchups we get at the beginning of college football and the preseason NFL stuff where it's just wait until everything got – this was fun. If you couldn't find something to entertain yourself this weekend, you just weren't you're not a football fan. We had the Saints game come down to the very last play of the game, heartbreaking for Saints fans. Jaden Daniels doing historic things, and I don't like to use the word historic unless it's actually historic, but for the very short sample size, historic. We saw one of the wildest college football games we've ever seen among top 5 teams. As good of a storyline, fall behind, big comeback, massive plays by freshmen, and LSU playing the last non-conference game of the regular season, wins in dominant fashion. They get that very easily. So we got plenty to discuss. Plus, if we get a second, we'll throw in a little. There's a doubleheader in Major League Baseball. It's going to decide some playoff seedings that we'll start tomorrow. So we got plenty.
Yeah, not what we're looking for in the last day of the regular season MLB, though. I mean, and they put it right in the middle of. I guess you have to. I mean, they're playing afternoon games on a Sunday to get it over. So, but, I mean, there was just not a whole lot of consequences. As much as they had, unbelievable storylines with Detroit coming from nowhere to win, some collapses like at, Minnesota. Upstart Kansas City gets in, Cleveland, just a lot of great stories. San Diego and the Dodgers there was a great divisional race until – the Dodgers took 2 or 3 from Chavez Ravine. This is it. Mets and Braves. And Braves, with all of their success and the team that they are, well, I mean, they're fighting for their playoff lives right now.
They split today. They get in. They actually, they win one game that they are in. Arizona's hoping for a sweep either way so that they can get into the playoffs. The Saints yesterday, man. There's all kind of ways to win or lose a football game, especially in the NFL where the margin is so much smaller than it is for most of the college games. But yesterday, the Saints did something that hadn't been done in 40 years in the NFL, which is to score 24 points and lose the game without giving up an offensive touchdown on the other side. Jimmy, I felt a little bit, not completely, but a little bit like there may be no more frustrating LSU game in history than the interception game at Auburn, where the defense gave up 6 yards the whole day, and LSU still managed to lose. But this one, at least, is in the conversation when you talk about something that hasn't been done in 40 years in the NFL. And when 2 of your best players, 2 of the guys you're relying on, make plays that are inexplicable, bad mistakes, brain freeze, whatever you want to call it. Rashid Shaheed, who has been just fantastic. Rashid Shaheed has been as exciting a piece as the Saints have had, for the last 2 years. You have, sung his praises and begged them to get him the ball more, and when they did, we saw some things open up in the offense. He's been an all-pro, not just an all-pro returner. And for him to field a ball that should never have been fielded and have that turn into an Atlanta touchdown. And then Derek Carr, who's off to a really good start, having a screen pass that we've seen screen passes blown up before. You do a couple things. You can throw the ball at the running back's feet. You can sail it out of bounds. You can even eat the football. But what you can't do is what Carr did, which is throw a ball that gets batted in the air and return for a touchdown. Then on the game-winning drive for Atlanta, and I use that with the air quotes in there, you give up 5 yards. Your defense has not given up a touchdown all day. Your defense gives up 5 gained yards, but you have a 30-yard pass interference penalty on Paulson Adebo, who had 3 of them yesterday, though 2 of them were declined. I know we talk about this all the time, but you just feel like you gave one away. You felt like you gave one away yesterday if you're New Orleans. That one, and this is 2 weeks in a row now where you were in position to win despite all the injuries, and you lose Taysom Hill in game. You were without, the interior offensive line. You were out DeMario Davis, who never misses a game, and you were still right there to win an important division game on the road, and you gave it away. I'm out of words other than you gave that one away.
Well, it's an often overused term and kind of used out of context. They gave the game away. This one, it applies. And the funny thing is, though, so the Falcons needed a 58-yard field goal at the end.
Career long for him.
They needed how many penalty yards on the last drive?
30.
30 penalty yards on the last drive. They needed a pick six. They needed Shaheed is just a low football IQ decision.
From a guy who doesn't make many of those. He doesn't make that mistake. He hasn't, at least.
He's trying to. You're taking a guy who is a spark, who they're just trying to create ways, invent ways to get him the ball in open space, and he wasn't. But you have to have some discipline. And the punters have gotten so much better. The kicking in the NFL has gotten so specialized, so good that old approach where you punt returner, you start at the 10, you don't take a step back, and you let it. But this one was way back over his shoulder. At near the goal line, it just, one of the most exciting. But sometimes guys can get away with it. One of the most exciting punt returns at Tiger Stadium was a bad decision.
Eddie Kennison.
Yeah. You don't feel a punt at the goal line.
Bevel back into the end zone.
You don't feel a punt at the goal line. Right. Period. I mean, come on, man. So all of that took Atlanta to win at the gun. And you look at the box score, but it's not as dominating as you would think to keep the Saints in. Saints had 50 more total yards. That's okay. They had a lot more first downs, 25-14, time of possession. They had the ball more. Well, when you turn the ball over like that and give them, you're just getting the ball back, so you're going to have more possessions. But I thought it was more dominant than that. For those that's just uncommon.
It felt like it was
two gift touchdowns, 58 yards of field goal at the buzzer, 30 yards of penalties on there to give them any type of a chance at a 58-yarder. And in the era of, okay, what is like a video game, what is not as far as game management, the Saints gave themselves the best shot they could by bleeding that clock down to as much as they did. They couldn't do it all. But, it comes with, there's some risk and reward involved there. Yeah, I don't know if it was intentional or not.
Derek Carr certainly didn't seem like he was that's not the most effective play they can run there to score. He's kind of leaning on the pile like, if you let me in, I'll fall into the end zone. But I'd much rather take 40 seconds off the clock. And, the risk reward is, well, you better get in when, you got 1 or 2 plays to do it. And they did, and they milked it down to I think it was a minute 5 when they kicked the football off.
It's just a better matchup for the Saints, is what we talked about beforehand, and that is Atlanta doesn't have great, pass rush. And so with the Saints' offensive line issues and no McCoy, this was that would offset that disadvantage. And maybe Carr would have some more time to throw. And when he's got time to throw, he throws a really nice ball. And that was fine yesterday. But, yeah, these are – These are competitive games. Yeah, these aren't rent-a-wins. I mean, these are two teams that, even as we wake up today, their win totals, adjusted win totals, are exactly the same. It's going to be very close. And this is one where you could have gone on the road and won one, and you kind of deserved to win. I mean, those plays that the Saints made, the breaks that the Falcons got, that's not sustainable. The Saints should have won this game. And I know we would have, should have, could have, but yeah, just why. Will Levis can go 7 for 7 on the first drive, but if he's going to throw a pick six every game, that's just going to erase that. And another 7 for 7 drive for a touchdown. You cannot make those type of mistakes, and they did. And
who would you? Okay,
it's just
tough. You brought up the adjusted win totals. If right now they're both 2-2, they're in the same division. So if you had to play it, who do you like better out of these two teams? Just for the next 13 games of the season, who do you like better?
Well, I think there's a learning curve possibility with Atlanta, and will Cousins get more and more comfortable in his, with his new surroundings. Because they're a team too, and Pitts is one of them. The word is, freak guy, could do a lot of things that people can, but he can't. He doesn't know the routes.
He just doesn't.
He doesn't know where he's going half the time. Drake London, okay, he's the top receiver picked in that draft. He can't get vertical. He's averaging like 8 yards a catch and stuff like that. You don't draft a possession receiver, in the top 10 of the draft. So I don't know, but. I like the Saints a little bit more. They were better, but I think there's a chance that Cousins could catch fire, which tells me that maybe this is what you get, is looking at what the Vikings are doing right now. And I'm sorry, but O'Connell is partly responsible for putting Cousins in some favorable situations. You keep waiting for Darnold to fall out of a tree. He's not. He's 4 for 4 so far, and that was a big win for them on the road against Green Bay. Green Bay, that puts them at a big disadvantage now, losing that home game, to the Vikings. They ain't going to go make a return trip. You could fall a couple of games behind and a tiebreaker behind the Minnesota Vikings. So, they're close, but I like the Saints a little bit more.
I'm trying not to be a homer when I say I like the Saints a little bit more too, and I was just as down on the Saints before the season as you were. But I look at Atlanta and I go, okay, you brought up London and you brought up Pitts. Bijan Robinson has been I don't want to say a non-factor, but he's been less of a factor than what I would have thought when they drafted him that high. And all three of these guys went in the top 10 picks of the draft. And you look yesterday and you're like, didn't get much out of Bijan Robinson. Didn't get much out of Drake London.
Oh, no.
Didn't get anything out of Kyle Pitts.
Saints dominated that aspect of the line
and
of
Cousins
scrimmage.
has been very average.
When the Falcons ran the ball, they're running into a brick wall.
Yeah.
Sometimes the Saints are the defensive linemen had whooped their guys so bad they were waiting on them at the line of scrimmage.
And this is without Davis, who's your heartbeat defensively. I could make a good case that the Falcons are 2-2, and the two games they won they should have lost, and the two games they lost they probably should have won. That they played better in losses to Pittsburgh, where Pittsburgh doesn't score an offensive touchdown. And
they should not have won that game.
But
Pittsburgh was smart. They managed it right. Why take chances when we don't need to?
Fair enough.
We watched that game together.
We did, and I can't tell you that they played any worse in that game than they played yesterday. And the Philadelphia game, they flat out should have lost. Maybe they shouldn't have won the game against Kansas City. I don't know. That it was a one-score game down at the end. But I would be wondering if I were, hate to play owner, if I'm Arthur Blank, I'm like, wait a minute, you guys told me, go out and spend these first-round picks on all these guys, and I'm not even including Michael Penix, who's the most highly paid spectator in the stadium yesterday. And then you told me to change coaches, and so we changed coach. Now, that's on him. He picked the coach. You told me to go spend all this money on a quarterback, a veteran quarterback who's coming off an Achilles injury. And what exactly am I investing in here? The coach is on him, okay? We've documented that blunder. But the quarterback, the running back, the wide receiver, the tight end, they have a huge amount invested in these guys, and I just don't see where the return is. Whereas New Orleans, look, this was a kind of a cleansing offseason. They didn't spend a bunch of money in free agency. They kept their draft choices for once. They're trying to get they made a change on the coaching staff, but otherwise it's the same group. You dominate the first 2 games, and the second 2 games, man, you felt like when you left the stadium, gee, we should have won that game.
Yeah, you could do a lot worse as an owner on the operations aspect of it than Arthur Blank. I mean, we pick on the Falcons and maybe their history and but I just can't get past and I rarely pay this much attention or give this much emphasis on a quote because I'm watching what you're doing, not what you're saying. But who in the hell would make a comment about that Bill Belichick did not make it in our top 3, our final 3, as far as a coaching candidate to take this job?
Yeah, who are you reassuring at that point?
Who exactly are you? Because you're embarrassing yourself when you're right there. You're admitting like we don't know anything about football. I mean, the greatest coach of all time. I mean, the most accomplished. I mean, yeah. He was a crappy interview as a coach. Now he's a butterfly as an analyst,
stand-up comedian.
He's but we're watching some things in the NFL. You don't think he's going to be coveted this offseason?
Yes.
I mean, and the Saints are better than we thought. But damn it, I'm going to take Dennis Allen over Bill Belichick. I mean, I'm going to take Raheem Morris over Bill Belichick.
You think the Jets would like one of those coaches right now?
I'm going to take McCarthy over Belichick.
You think the Jets or the Eagles would like one of those coaches
right
now?
Yes, and the Eagles. I mean, what is going on there? This is going on again? I mean, tell you what, the kid from Alabama was throwing the ball better than Jalen Hurts did in college. Now, that's not a given. He's going to do it every week.
Yeah.
Okay?
Jalen Milroe had a night for the ages.
Oh, when he's throwing like that. And the other thing from the flip side, it took all of that at home to barely win.
Yeah, you had to hang on. You had to make the damnedest play you've ever seen in your life. And then 2 freshmen, hate to bring that up, but 2 freshmen, one makes the catch and the video game spin and then turns on the Jets to get home.
But isn't this Kalen DeBoer?
And then another one makes the interception to seal it.
He's beaten at least equal rosters or maybe even superior rosters by some game plan and execution and game management. I mean, that's what they had to play at a high level. That was not, we're just going to lean on you. We're going to win at home. Man, all of that stuff, it's not a given that Milroe's going to throw the ball like that every week. That the place is going to be on fire. I could look at it 2 different ways. Alabama's capable of that, but damn, that's not an insult to Georgia for them to play, your opponent to play at that level, at that place, and it coming down to the wire.
We're here at Big Mike's on Aspen Square. Ton of stuff going on. Starting tonight, they're doing trivia every other Monday night. They do a theme trivia, and tonight's theme is true crime. They did Disney a couple of weeks ago. Tonight is true crime. You can win some pretty cool stuff, gift cards, appetizers, free beer. Everybody likes free beer. So if you finish near the top of the trivia on Monday nights, we had a good time with this stuff alongside of Monday Night Football. So you can come out and do trivia. Tonight's theme is true crime trivia. Always live music at Big Mike's this Saturday. DJ Cowboy Chris will be here, and they do a cool event here every year for Halloween. It's great for the family. Bring the kids out, called Trunk or Treat, and it's just what it sounds like. It's a lot of cars with their trunks open and lots of treats for the kids. It's October the 22nd at 7 o'clock. You can bring the family out starting the previous night. They're going to do an event, a family fun time at 6:30 on the 21st, and then on the 22nd, Trunk or Treat starts at 7 o'clock. Spider-Man's going to be out here. They got a lot of treats and stuff. It's really fun for the kids. They've been doing it for years. Bring them out here on the 22nd of October. Lots of great game day specials that we'll be telling you about, too. And they do line dancing. They do bingo here. Always something going on at Big Mike's. Terrific neighborhood bar and some great food here on Aspen Square. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Remember, you can always get the show on demand, the new LouisianaSports.net, 1045ESPN.com as well. We'll drop a new Hannycast podcast with video for you from the game on sometime early tonight. You can pick that up on YouTube. when a rookie has a monster game in the NFL, especially if it's a quarterback, you wonder, okay, what's the bounce? What's the what happens the next week? We thought that Jaden Daniels played nearly a perfect game on Monday night, about as close as you can come in the NFL. And so on a short week, going all the way out to Arizona, who hasn't been terrible to this point, might be, a little bit of a regression spot. Instead, Daniels was just as good as he was on Monday night. The numbers are almost as good. He did have the one interception on a great play by the Arizona DB, but best job in sports right now belongs to Tress Wade, a Washington punter. He's had to play one play the last 3 weeks. The numbers for Daniels, just the raw numbers, are great. His QBR through 4 games is the best through 4 games for a quarterback, other than it's a top 4, and this is all players. Deshaun Watson, Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy were ahead of him. The playmakers he's had to work with have not exactly been what, say, Chicago's got on the field. The advanced numbers, the advanced metrics that they like, expected points added on drop-back situations, is the best in football. His next-gen stats, that there is a 75% probability of a pass. He's 37 of 46 for 405 yards and a touchdown. These are, where they are mostly behind the sticks, which they haven't been a lot. He has completed 82% of his passes through 4 weeks. The only quarterback with a better completion percentage over that time was Purdy, who I think we understand has a lot more to work with. And 4 out of 5 passes are producing positive yardage. If that doesn't sound like a big stat, consider that Bo Nix yesterday completed 7 passes in the first half for negative 7 yards. I could go on, Jimmy, but what Jaden Daniels is doing is, through 4 games, is not what we consider rookies to do, what we expect rookies to do, and it's kind of historic. I mean, there's a lot of other numbers, but you get the idea. This guy's playing at the highest level you can play at for a rookie 4 games into his NFL career.
Oh, historic, there's no doubt. Some people were comparing his numbers to Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. That's in like their 4th or 5th year.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning led the league. He threw 30 interceptions his rookie season. That ain't happening. He threw his first in 4 games. So he's on track to throw, 4 and a quarter?
Something like that. Yeah.
just between 4 and 5. Yeah, he's not throwing 30 his first year. Tom Brady was a game manager the whole time he came in that season. So, no, this guy is doing it better. I don't know how you stop him, because he is so quick and he is such a threat with his legs. But when you contain rush him, he is so comfortable in the pocket. He's kind of the perfect quarterback. I mean, what do you do? I mean, you come in wild and you get out of your lanes, and then he loses containment. I mean, he seems to be comfortable. And even after the first 2 games, before he had that breakout game, because the first 2 games was at Tampa Bay, he did not look good at Tampa Bay, and then against the Giants, he looked comfortable, but they didn't score a touchdown in that game. So, I mean, these last 2 have just kind of been breakout games, and he's now throwing the ball. He's pushing the ball vertically a little bit. Kingsbury's done a very nice job with him. Now, he's a guy that it's nice to have a piece like that, but he is going to be hell to deal with. And guess what he did yesterday? He slid.
Oh, yeah.
Why the hell not? I mean, they got to be telling him he's got to do it. I mean, they're doing the Monday night broadcast a couple of weeks ago again at Cincinnati. They said, well, no, he doesn't. He tells us he doesn't like Deshaun. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. That's punchline. Okay, whatever. But he better wise up. He's way too important. He's really, really, really good. And it's not just individual performances, Charlie. This is the league. It's a bounce-back league. Dallas goes on the road and destroys Cleveland. Then they get routed at home by New Orleans. Tampa, I mean, they're struggling, and then they lose at home to Denver. They bounce back with a win against Philadelphia. Las Vegas, they go to Baltimore and win, lose Carolina, and then it's a bounce-back league week to week. So not just individually, but teams. And they followed up that win at Cincinnati with that performance and looked like it was no fun. The travel and all that really doesn't do a whole lot. I don't care about that. It's more about having everybody pat you on the back, tell you how good you were, and then and still as an unproven team, you come back and do it again where you didn't win on a Hail Mary at the end. You didn't need any breaks like Atlanta did. You destroyed the opponent, which in the Cardinals had been an improved team this year to this point. They're much more competitive. And all of a sudden, those defensive tackles are in the picture more. These just energizing the whole damn roster right now. And isn't that kind of what's happening with their whole organization? It's sort of been energized,
giant
like
reset,
you said,
the complete reset,
like a damn asthmatic's been sitting in waiting for a damn puffer for 25 years. I mean, it's
owner, coach, quarterback,
everything.
Complete reset.
I mean, they're just such a. They're kind of waiting to wake up a little bit. These long-suffering fans, we know are a tremendous fan base that had, 100 and so many sellouts at RFK than FedEx Field.
Kingsbury's helping him out a ton. Here's a few things that he's doing. Number one, it's not a ton of air yards. These passes, it's an average of 6, but they're all positive plays. The second thing is when they have chose to push the ball down the field, he's keeping extra protection in. Daniels has been protected at a very reasonable rate compared to what we see for, say, Caleb Williams or even Bo Nix. The third thing that they're doing is when they do run him, everything that is called either the RPOs or these design runs, we saw him have a keeper for a touchdown, it's all outside the tackles. There's none of these QB runs. They're keeping him out of harm's way as much as they can. I mean, if you saw Josh Allen just got beat to hell last night, they have tried to avoid that. Now, he took some hits last week, okay? But yesterday, it's a slide, got out of bounds. They're giving him the opportunity to get down. They're saying, hey, listen, we're not calling quarterback draws here for you. We're not calling quarterback powers. I haven't seen them do a tush push with him. Maybe they have. But they are trying to keep him.
No, they haven't.
They're trying to keep him out of harm's way as much as they can.
Their short yardage plays read option, and he's very good at reading it. He's got a good, give option in Robinson, who's a power runner. He gets behind his pads and runs, and then he can pull it. I mean, that's what they ran when they were near the goal line against Cincinnati. He walks in. I mean, because he's so damn quick. So he's making that's their short yardage situation. In a league that has some issues with the short yardage, what happened to Philadelphia when they are 4 feet from the goal line on second down and run? The tush push is gone. Who stops it? I know your opponent doesn't want to defend it. What did they do? They ran some crazy crap. But that's Washington's right now. And he took no hits yesterday. And I got to stress to him, but it's also, okay, you make that big jump from your junior year at LSU to your senior year. You had to listen to somebody. You had to be coachable. And so can he be coached? No, you don't. You're not helping us by lowering your shoulder and getting that first down in the middle of the first quarter. There'll be a time on 4th and 4 when it's a one-possession game with 3 minutes to go. Okay, that's down. That's different, okay? But do not even think about it until we get to the fourth quarter of play. Don't even think about it. And the beating team's so bad. This is, like you said, this is such a fine line of winning and losing, and they're winning comfortably. This is 2 road wins that they win comfortably. Kind of like I know the Bengals, the final score made it, but Bengals never had the ball in a one-possession game in the fourth quarter.
No.
The
Cowboys can't run the football at all. Philadelphia's got a big disconnect between the quarterback and the coach and everybody else, really. The Giants flat out stink. It's hard not to like Washington right now. There's 13 weeks to go. I realize we're still in September for one more day. But it's hard not to like Washington right now in that division.
If you like them, the odds are still there.
Yes, I was
they're still
setting
there.
You up there.
You get most places have plus 260. One outlet has plus 290 to win the division. I got on plus 290 this morning, and maybe a little late. Maybe I could have done, but I wanted to see them show a level of maturity and follow up a really good performance where they were on a semi standalone Monday night spot. That everybody saw and everybody noticed and everybody was throwing you flowers. And to your point too, Charlie, yes, as an individual. No, but Jaden Daniels has shown that he can handle that. And he's just That's their guy, bro. I mean, it's impossible to prove that he has sort of energized the defensive front all of a sudden, which is the highest paid defensive tackle tandem in the league, but way underperforming. All of a sudden, Kyler Murray, who's really been a headache for opposing defenses, they shut him down. They shut him down yesterday.
Culture, everything has changed there. By the way, if you want to play a bomb on a former LSU quarterback just for fun, get it for plus 3,300 to win the MVP right now at Bet Rivers. You know, if you want to.
How does that compare with the Skeens? Cy Young, because they never really wanted to give it to Skeens, the Cy Young. So they're comfortable, and Skeens is going to get Rookie of the Year. Okay, he finished on Saturday with a 6-up, 6-down performance. So he has got a under 2 ERA, under 1 WHIP, historical numbers. 3 strikeouts and 1 strikeout where he was laughing. His stuff was so nasty. But I think it's a very similar situation where, hey, we're going Rookie of the Year. You're in the front, okay? But MVP. They're going to have to win 12 games or more.
Yeah, they'd have to be up at the top of the NFC, no doubt. Here's the difference. He's not on a pitch count. He's going to qualify for every minimum attempt as long as he stays healthy. Every minimum attempt.
There's going to be that reluctance.
Sure. No, absolutely.
So Skeens was on a pitch count? So he threw 2 innings instead of 6 his last start of the season.
No, I'm talking about he didn't qualify for the ERA title.
Oh, because he had a late start.
Right. Daniels doesn't have that restriction.
Because the organization wants to do everything they can, and they want to sweat $200,000 on Tellez in his
Well,
bonus.
they did. Daniels won't be on any kind of pitch count.
I still think there's going to be that reluctance.
There will be.
But can he get high enough to where it's down to him and maybe 1 or 2 more where you could create leverage and you could buy a Chris Sale? You know what I mean?
Play along with the former Tiger quarterback. Be a fun ride.
No, but 33-1, you could create some leverage.
Yes.
Yeah. MR Property Group, my friends at MR Property Group, LSU alums Miriam Del Rio and Remy Curry. Whether you are buying, selling, or investing, Remy and Miriam can certainly help you out in that aspect. Low pressure suggestions when asked, but finding the option that you're interested. We understand that there are no dumb questions to this. Very important process. Is very important transaction in your life. Thinking about selling, man, you might not realize just how much equity you do have in your home. MR Property Group with Keller Williams, Red Stick Partners in Baton Rouge, 230-4242, 230-4242.
Live at Big Mike's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Can't imagine that you can see a football game with more intrigue than that looked like a snoozer early than Georgia and Alabama on Saturday night. Alabama gets up 28-0, 21-0 in the first quarter. They get a safety. They're up 30-7 at the half. Then Georgia comes with the mother of all comebacks. Carson Beck, who had been a little bit rough early, goes on a tear. They come all the way back to take the lead. And then Alabama with a play to Ryan Williams. And here's my promise to you, Jimmy. I will not say this again because it's been said. Did you know that Kim Mulkey was Kramer Robertson's mom? Okay, I'm not going to mention Mr. Williams' age anymore this year. He's just Ryan Williams, okay? Makes an unbelievable play and then what I can only describe as a video game spin and then turns on the Jets and gets to the end zone. And then Alabama's got to make another play at the end in the end zone. It's another freshman that makes the interception to seal the game. That was something.
Yeah, where are our freshmen making these plays? Hopefully next year they'll be making these plays. Year 3 to ask you to have some impact freshmen, a little bit too much to ask for $100 million maybe. But anyway, the other thing was that Georgia didn't have the. We knew that Alabama had a Ryan Williams and Georgia did not, huh? Georgia may have found them their own explosive players in the comeback. They could have. Georgia could have gained as much, and this is where they might be out, I still think they have. I still think 10-2 Georgia's getting in. I think it'd be very difficult, very difficult. Having gone to Alabama and Beck and they were just so untested last year. I mean, and it hurt them. It hurt them last year. So maybe, they might have a worse record when they get to the SEC championship game or to the college football playoff and be better prepared. Because moral victory or silver lining, whatever you want to, I think they gained something in the way that game was played. They were pushed. They had to make plays, and they just got, the same throw he had been making, sort of, hey, put air under the ball and sort of underthrow the deep ball, and my guy's going to make a play. Well, it went for big play after big play, and it finally, a DB, which is hard to do. They all coach it. They all want you to look back at the ball, but very few do. And this guy was talented enough to make back and make the play to save the game for Alabama. But, incredible. What's that used to call it? Instant Classic? When they used to have ESPN Classics? Right. That's what this was. It's but both teams are better. But on the other side, it took a lot of things for Alabama to be playing. Milroe is way better. We talked about that before the game. He's way better as a passer than he was at this time last year when they played a similar game against Texas. But he's not a given that he's going to throw the ball like that, every time. But when you got a guy like Williams, he sure sets up. What do, Charlie? Do you double him and leave one less guy in the box and let Milroe run? When you come in and you spy Milroe, it's a numbers game. They both give you – Milroe's legs put so much pressure on you, and Williams over the top put so much pressure on you. It's a numbers game. And, that's an easy read for a quarterback to make where you're leaning on, where you emphasize on stopping.
You can spy Milroe if you feel like it, but there's not very many guys that can run with him and match his physicality once you get there. First 20 plays that he's got the ball in his hands were 9 runs and 11 passes. He was 11 for 11 throwing the football, and the 9 runs produced over 100 yards. So pick your poison.
Against that defense. And that's why I'm saying you spy him if you feel like it, but he's outrunning Georgia's defense. We said this on Football Sunday yesterday. You want to talk about where LSU is going to miss Harold Perkins? When they play Alabama, Perkins is the one guy that might have actually been able to run with Milroe as a spy. But that's, and they should have done that last year, but that's out. I want to mention something you said about Georgia, that at 10-2 it's going to be very difficult to keep them out. Is there anybody that's going to be able to put up a better strength of schedule than Georgia? It's hard for me. Clemson's on a roll.
Clemson, that victory looks better now. The Kentucky victory looks better now. That was on the road. This Alabama game, okay, you lost the game, but Alabama's number 1 in the country now. You're still going to go to Texas. You're still going to go to Ole Miss, and you're still going to play Tennessee. So even if they lose one of those games, find me a better strength of schedule.
Yeah, but they got to get through them with only one loss.
You do. So you said 10-2. So if you go 2-1 in those 3 games, and then you don't, step on step on your face and lose to a game you're not supposed to, which I don't think they will. They've shown me, Jimmy. We've watched them cruise in a lot of games. Okay, they're Georgia. They had won 42 consecutive regular season games. They faced some adversity the last 2 weeks. It was all they could do to win at Kentucky. Mm-hmm. And now this one, you're down 28-0, man. Get on the bus. We'll get you next time. They come all the way back in Tuscaloosa.
In the era when we're supposed to just, it's an individual sport. It's a battle between quarterbacks. Beck threw for 430.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Okay,
3 interceptions were big. No, and those were costly. But Alabama's not too bad defensively either. I think George is more of a threat to go the whole way, this year. But those athletes making plays, man. It was fun to watch. It was
really fun to watch.
It was a lot of athletes making plays. And Charlie, usually if you're going to give up a player, usually the quarterback on a spy, usually you don't match the athleticism, but you put your most capable guy there. So it's not like they can't find anybody to match him, but your angles, and you try and break down, and you try and keep him from. The team should have defended Jalen Hurts his freshman year like that. He was throwing the ball as a screen, or he was running. Period. He was not throwing the ball downfield at all. This guy is attacking, but just 1 year ago, quarterbacks can develop. And how much does the board get credit for developing, for Milroe being a much more accomplished passer this year than last year? Did he not do a good job? Did you see Michael Penix?
He did.
In the middle of Indiana and Washington?
He did. Milroe improved from the beginning of the year last year to the end of the year, but this jump is even more dramatic. I agree with you.
Yeah.
At this time last year, he was benched at Central Florida, remember?
And remember I told you football center?
Or South Florida. So,
yeah.
Yeah, he was
benched. Okay, he's the best option they got.
Yeah.
That's how bad those guys were.
They figured that out in a hurry.
Don't forget our friends at Workbox, our friends Martine Padial and own in Workbox. And, they sold a branch of it, a division of it, so we don't have any more portalets or dumpsters that we control over at the Workbox. But movable storage needs, commercial and or residential, that's what we have for you. A lot of these shipping containers are standard size, not at Workbox. We've got all kinds of different sizes with 8 by 8 feet, 8 by 10 feet, 8 by 20 feet, 8 by 40 feet. So not at Workbox. And not only just the different sizes, but you want to customize them any way that you want. We can make a custom lunchroom. For welding or plumbing jobs, we can customize a work site for welders and plumbers. Custom safety storage near the plant so that you get all the safety needs that you're required to before you enter the plant. We've got that covered for you. We could customize dual purpose facility. Dual-purpose containers, whether it's like part office, part storage, part functional, climate control, different shelving and lighting, wooden or metal materials that we can use. We customize it exactly to your needs or preferences. Check out our website at workboxllc.com, workboxllc.com, 343-4886, Workbox.
Live at Big Mike's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Talk about path to the playoffs. We're talking about Georgia's. What about Notre Dame's? Their highest ranked, well, not quite highest ranked if we're going to count USC, team remaining on the schedule, Louisville. They get the win on Saturday, Jimmy. It was kind of a sloppy game all the way around, but the Irish come up with the 7-point win.
Well, what has Louisville done? They beat Jacksonville State and Georgia Tech,
right.
And things fell their way in a Georgia Tech game where they were outgained. I mean, I don't know if Louisville's any good. Louisville went 1 for 5 on fourth down. That Notre Dame won the game with only 11 first downs. But I think it's funny how because Notre Dame's big recruiting advantage, 30, 40 years ago, all of our games were on national TV, are on NBC. Now, they're the hardest team to find on TV.
Peacock.
Not everybody has it.
Right.
So, you know how Peacock was extorted, basically, held a gun up to the, of the sportsbook managers and the sports books and the sports bars by saying, no, we're going to play a playoff game on Peacock. We're going to play the Brazil game on Peacock. If you have commercial Peacock, you don't get the college games.
Thanks. You get half a Peacock?
Yeah, you get half a Peacock.
Okay. I
mean, just so how do you so now there's some places that aren't showing Notre Dame games. How do you go from where you can find your games more than anybody? Now, well, we might not. I know I don't have Peacock. I spent enough money on cable subscriptions.
I'm taking a stand. I won't get it.
But it's just a joke, man.
I don't even know if this is a hot take anymore, Jimmy. The most difficult game left on Notre Dame's schedules, I think, is Navy. Okay, they still play USC, but right now I want to play Navy
at USC. Where they play Navy
at home.
It's South Bend. Navy's 4-0, and Horvath is much improved as a quarterback. He's thrown for about 180 yards. Yeah, they could be.
Hour number 2 straight ahead. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back here at Big Mike's Live at Lunch. There's a ton of stuff going on here at Big Mike's as we move into October. First of all, this Saturday, live music every weekend here at Big Mike's. DJ Cowboy Chris will be here this Saturday. And they're doing a trivia every other Monday night, special themed trivias. Last time it was Disney. Tonight it is true crime. So if you're a fan of that, they give away some cool prizes, gift cards, appetizers, free beer. Everybody likes free beer. Come out on Monday nights. You watch Monday Night Football football and play along in the trivia. And you want to bring the kids out near Halloween. They do this cool little event called Trunk or Treat every year, October 22nd. They line up a lot of vehicles in the parking lot, and out of the trunks they have, basically you can do your trick-or-treating right here, make the circle. Bring the family out. Spider-Man will be here, so you can take pictures, get some candy, have fun with the kids, family-friendly, here on October the 22nd, starting at 7 o'clock. And if you want to come out for game day Jell-O shots, they are significantly discounted from the ones in Omaha. They're only $1. So game day shots, you get them in purple, in gold, in red, or in blue. $1 Jell-O shots on game day here for LSU games. Next game LSU plays will be against Ole Miss. Not undefeated Ole Miss, just Ole Miss, who lost for the first time on Saturday.
Do we know if the South Carolina quarterback's going to be healthy yet, Max? We know. We just don't. Nobody knows this, huh? We get Cam Rising updates every week.
Yeah, he's a game-time decision.
Yes, for Game 10.
Yeah,
yes,
next year. He's a game-time decision.
Yes.
It's one of those. Well,
But finally caught up with him, huh?
Yeah,
Arizona beat them handily at Salt Lake City, which is that does not happen often when winning games.
31 straight or something like that.
Oh, it was?
It's somewhere in that area. Noah Fafita had a really, really good game for Arizona.
I thought the defense.
The defense was terrific,
yeah, I mean,
too.
Fafita
made some
that's
plays.
Why I said it caught up with them because Cam Rising is such a impact player with all of his injury and the uncertainties and the games that the head coach is playing. He is just so damn important to his team. And, Charlie, they got away with it in Stillwater. No, very little offensive threat. He finally caught up with him. I mean, Arizona's defense does not look that good normally.
South Carolina's got to make a decision. Got to put something out. You have to put something out officially about, his status later in the week. I don't know if he'll update today or not. So we'll get to Ole Miss at South Carolina this weekend in a second. Here we'll see if Max can pull anything out of the press conference that I think is going on right now.
Ole Miss has made it very, very, very difficult on themselves now. Their favorable schedule, where they duck Alabama, okay. Their non-conference is a joke. Wake Forest is really down, so that trip to Winston-Salem is. ULL went there and won Saturday. Okay, certainly Ole Miss, had very low resistance. It might have been different a couple of years ago, when they had the quarterback and had Grove and some other guys. But he's now they've got to go on the road, and South Carolina has shown they can be tough. Okay, LSU, shows that they can improve under Kelly, and now you got to go on the road and play those two teams coming off a bye.
Both of them coming off.
Man, you made it after you got physically whooped. Were they on third down? 1 for 10.
Yeah,
on third down.
And
that's your third-year starting quarterback with your offensive guru head coach against a lower tier, a lower half Kentucky team.
They made a lot of mistakes. If you ever leave the stadium and you say, for whatever team you root for, and you say, we look terrible, we ain't going to win another game this season. I give you the 2024 Kentucky Wildcats, who, when they got beat by South Carolina, looked like they did not have a heartbeat.
There was no hope.
No heartbeat. I mean, the patient is not be able to resuscitate it, okay? Give Georgia all they want and then go to Oxford and win. If you had said when they left the South Carolina game, yeah, they're going to give Georgia all they want and win in Oxford, you said, you're nuts. Stoops put together and executed as good of a game plan as you can. What do you want to do against Ole Miss? You want to keep that offense off the field. They had the ball for 2/3 of the game. They only ran it for 2 yards a carry, Jimmy, but they ran it 47 times. They would not give up on it. And they took advantage of those Ole Miss penalties, 3 Ole Miss penalties, prolonged drives in the first half, so they caught a little bit of good fortune too. But with the game on the line, Stoops made a big call, and Brock Vandegrift, who was awful against South Carolina.
Completely off script.
Yeah. They are 4th and 7 from their own 20-yard line. There's 4 minutes to go. They've got 2 timeouts left, so if they want to punt, they're down 17-13 at that point. So if they want to punt and play defense, they've got 2 timeouts. They can still do that. Not only do they go for it from their own 20-yard line down 4, they throw a bomb, and Vandegrift hits his longest pass of the day, 63 yards. So if you're going to play conservative, somewhere along the line you got to make one play. You got to make one play. And they did, and they got in. Ole Miss's field goal at the end was not close.
Here's one for you.
That was perfectly designed and executed by the Kentucky staff.
Was your little old saying tested on here? Did you ever feel like Kentucky was going to win?
No. I'll
You
be
know what I
perfect.
mean?
Not until they
where'd
scored
where'd you see a 60-yard play coming from in that game?
That was until they took the lead. I'm like, wow, they may actually win this thing. And even to the end, I thought Ole Miss was going to kick a field goal, get it to overtime.
So Vandergrift signed with Georgia originally, right?
Yes, he was with
highly recruited, right?
5-star guy.
Highly recruited.
Yes.
He's got some toughness, though.
I'll be honest with you. I've never seen more of a transformation from South Carolina game where he looked shell-shocked to this.
Well, all three of them, he's getting hit, Charlie.
Yeah, absolutely.
All three of them, he's taking a lick, okay? And he's still standing in there at the end of Game 3 where did South Carolina hit him? I mean, he couldn't even set up.
No.
You think Georgia hit him? You think Ole Miss hit him?
Yeah.
Okay? But, you want to have that plan, but Ole Miss allowed them to stay with that plan by giving them 3 extra possessions on third down defensive stop penalties.
And Kiffin knew it, too, coming off the field at half.
Kiffin said it going into those useless interviews, actually gave us something. Oh, no, he knows they had 3 mental mistakes and extended. Well, that's going to increase. I mean, 3 extra possessions in one half. I mean, you're acting like you have no respect for your opponent. You're going to beat them. You can fool around and you get flags and be sloppy and give them extra possessions. You're still going to win. No, it came back to bite you. That's the sign of a program and a group and a team that's not mentally mature. And what we talk about with this, we talk about this program's history, right? That's a sign of that history.
Yeah.
Okay? And so then you come back and, wait a minute, your strength of your team is your offensive play design, your ability on third down, in your third-year experienced quarterback. 1 for 10 on third down? Well, I mean, that's Kentucky. I mean, is Kentucky's defense all right? We give them credit. Stoops overachiever, low resource program, but I mean, 1 for 10 is horrendous. That's your strength, not getting it done. And back to my point where Jackson Dart, Heisman hopeful, and this and that. Man, Jackson Dart and this Ole Miss offense to this, or this Ole Miss team to this point, is bullies. They beat the heck out of some cream puffs. Great. But the first little pressure, they cave. And did you ever give that kicker a chance with any type of pressure, with this program, with their history? He could not. He looked like the guy that brought off a game day, a student out of the crowd, saying, hey, come try this 42-yarder. He kicked it sideways. I mean, so Ole Miss runts acting like runts.
They got to go to South Carolina this week. I can't think of a program that took more of a gut punch than Ole Miss this weekend. Even our friend Mincy's contemplating life.
The meaning of life.
This gut punch, okay? You go to South Carolina, who's dangerous. Then you got to come to Baton Rouge. You play Oklahoma after a bye. They may have found a quarterback this weekend. You go to Arkansas, who's at least a little bit dangerous. And all of that's before you play Georgia. This team that went in with top 10.
Just go back to what you do best, okay? Ain't never met a party we lost. That's all. Just go back to what you do best.
And I just warned against
Poor Lane Kiffin.
playing out the whole rest of the season after one game. But man, if you're an Ole Miss fan, you can't feel very good about it today.
But big picture, Lane Kiffin's done a hell of a job. Is he thinking at night, I just don't know if I can get it done here? He has to be.
Sure.
How can you not?
He thought about it last year.
How can you not?
He thought about it 2 years ago when Auburn came and talked to him. He's like, yeah, I can. 2 years later, if Florida comes calling, is he going to be like, I don't know. I mean, they gave me what I asked for. I went out and I got the team. The fan support is fine, but I don't know if I can win here. I don't know if I can win a national championship here.
I mean, it's
and as crazy as that sounds, they were number 6 in the country. Okay.
Well, look, as excited as Ole Miss right now, Ole Miss can't match their game day experience that Auburn did against Oklahoma. And Auburn, as low as they are right now, that place is a big-time venue. Ole Miss is not. That crowd was there, and it was 2 really not-so-great teams, especially for their standards, which was an incredible game. They were hard-hitting, and that place was on fire. Ole Miss is not. It's a rinky. I mean, they had Portalets in the end zone not too long ago. I mean, come on, man. I mean, they're reminded by their past. They're cursed, Charlie. Their best coach ever sold the national championship, moved the game from Jackson to Baton Rouge in '59. They're cursed. 4th and 25, face mask in the game against Arkansas. No.
Took the Cubs and the Red Sox 100 years to get over their curses.
Mincy ain't got enough years left.
They got another 50 years in purgatory.
No.
I guess.
No.
Since you brought up Auburn, 5 turnovers against Cal, you lose the game.
Oh, my
5
gosh.
turnovers against Arkansas, you lose the game.
Oh, my
So
gosh.
you go into this game with Oklahoma, and we remember the old stories in the old school where if you fumbled, you had to take the football to class with you, stuff like that. Hugh Freeze spends the entire week just harping it. No turnovers, ball security.
And for 3 quarters.
And they were fine. And they've got a 2-score lead in the 4th quarter at home. And Michael Hawkins, who nobody was paying any attention to, I certainly wasn't, freshman, quarterback, first road start. His numbers for the day were not
terrible. Come on, Charlie.
They were
They
nothing
gave
special.
them this game. You find me a box score, conference game that was dominated like Auburn dominated Oklahoma. 26 first downs to 11.
Right.
26 first downs to 11. They don't make no. This was a junior high offense. They just run around and try and make something happen. Okay, with Oklahoma. I mean, they got destroyed. Auburn just created a way to. This reminds me of like when LSU and DiNardo lost to Alabama when they got an onside kick. They got the tip touchdown late. I'm like, how in the hell? Why? How did we lose this game? Really? I mean, this was. They 200 more yards and 26-11 first downs. You got to win. You got to win, dude.
I am.
You throw a pick 6 to a linebacker for the winning score.
I am not.
When you just got to
1 second going to tell you that Auburn
make that guy in a junior high quarterback drive the length of the field. No, we just going to throw it to the linebacker here and let him run. Oh, you could. This Auburn, and this is about their fan base too. You give them credit. Some might not show up like they did with a couple of bad losses already. Okay,
sure.
But they were there, and that place was on fire. They, when Auburn would come to Baton Rouge, sometimes, we're supposed to beat them easily, double digits. No, you're in a dogfight. They got a little pride with their program, even in a low spot right now. But they gave that game away. Don't try and sell me on this quarterback just running around with 11 first downs, who went 2 for 11 on 3rd down and got outgained by 200 yards. That he was a difference maker.
I'm not going to tell you that he was a difference maker for the whole game. I'm going to tell you that he made a couple of big plays when they needed him. He hits a 60-yard bomb when they're down 11 points. So I'm going to give him a little bit of credit for that. But no, Auburn gave the game away. I'm not arguing that. Where it reminded me a little bit of that doggone Belk Bowl. You got the lead, you got the ball, you're trying to salt the clock away, and not only do you turn it over and you give up the lead while you're doing that. It's just as big of a turnaround. Not only do you have the lead, but you got the ball. In this case,
well, let
Auburn,
me correct you on the
home.
Belk Bowl. They were setting up for a short field goal, a game-winning field goal, and on the kneel down, they fumbled. And then Cincinnati busted it. And then they covered on the pick 6 at the end.
Right.
Yes.
And where were they when they threw the pick 6?
Near midfield, but no, they had already fallen behind.
Right about where Auburn was when they threw the pick 6.
Auburn had the lead.
Auburn has the
They
lead.
already had the lead. They were not behind. I got to make this guy. Yeah, he busted the run early to give him the touchdown. And then Auburn controlled that game. Find me another conference box score like this where it's this dominant and a team lost. They're snake bit right now. They're second guessing themselves. And at Auburn, you don't get a whole lot of second guess. You can get it done or get out. So and in Ashford, he played well, man. Minus that throw. He played well. They moved the ball.
Peyton Thorne.
Thorne, I'm sorry. Yeah, Ashford's up at, transfer.
South Carolina.
Yeah. But it just – no, but Illinois is Ashford. They're losing sleep. You don't remember how bad of a loss that was? How that game, how did we lose? What flukish had to happen? How many teams get onside kicks? Well, Minnesota did, but they called them up for a phantom offsides against Minnesota. But – I mean, I just poor Auburn right now, man. They were so much the best on Saturday. 200 more yards and 26-11 first downs. 2 for 11. Your opponent is on 3rd down. No, you got to win that game.
Your next 3 games are on the road.
No, it doesn't get tough.
Your next 3 games are on the road. You go to Georgia this week.
Hey.
I can't think of anywhere else I'd rather go less than that. Then you play Missouri and Kentucky on the road. This could snowball on them in a hurry.
Well, how about Oklahoma? This is a light spot in their schedule, and they should have got routed.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a hard schedule, man, and that's one I just couldn't write in. I just can't give Oklahoma a check. I mean, I thought it was a 50-50 game. But, you got Texas, South Carolina. We think South Carolina can be good. They can be.
They're dangerous.
They can be.
They're dangerous.
I mean, at Ole Miss they got to go to. They got to go to Missouri. They got to play Alabama at LSU. That's Oklahoma's right. Man, that's some tough sledding for that team.
They are. They're very encouraged by what the quarterback did. And I realize, again, Auburn did all those things. None of that's untrue. Big run at the beginning, big pass late. They've got something to build on. They don't have a quarterback controversy anymore.
You don't throw the pick. You don't throw the pick six at the end. Does Oklahoma win?
No, probably not.
Okay.
No.
And then how has his performance looked? It's looked at
a lot better than Jackson Arnold.
This is why we dig a little bit deeper on this show.
Sure.
And are not just going to give him, based on luck, that the quarterback, we view him in a different light. No, his would have been like, okay, we tried this. Let's go back to Spencer Arnold.
Jackson Arnold.
Yeah. Who, by the way, Auburn should have gone over to the opposing sideline and saying, you want to come over now?
Yeah, we'll trade you a draft choice. The pick six came after the 2 big plays that Hawkins made. That's why I'm encouraged for Oklahoma that they will go forward with him and not Jackson Arnold. At least they've got their guy now. I don't know.
That makes you got your guy?
Yeah.
11 first downs.
He's way better than Jackson Arnold.
He is.
Yes. At this point, for what I saw, yes, I agree. I agree with me.
Oh, my God. Oh, Lord. It was a rough weekend, huh?
He's better. He's better than Arnold.
Oh, okay. 11 first downs. 2 for 11 on third down.
2 big plays. I can build on that. There was nothing to build on with Jackson Arnold. I mean, there was nothing to build on with him. He was a 4-alarm dumpster fire. They scored 16 points against Houston. Yes, this is better than that. Okay. This is better than that.
Okay.
Is he going to be really good? I don't know, but he's better than – they've settled on their guy. He's going to be their guy. Let's see if he's any good.
He can't throw.
Threw a 60-yard bomb to get him within 4 points.
2 for 11. What's his yards per attempt?
8.5.
It's complete. It's looked at completely. This is one where you sweep all of the deficiencies under the rug because you won. It's like kind of a Les Miles game evaluation.
No,
hey, we won.
I'm just saying he's better than Jackson.
Hell with all the game management, calling timeout with the clock stopped, or running out, all this goofy stuff. But no, we won, so everything's good.
How much you want to bet he starts the next game and Jackson Arnold doesn't?
Oh, well, I'm not stupid.
I mean, come on.
That doesn't make him better.
It makes him better than Arnold. I don't know if it makes him good. I don't know if he's good.
Arnold's going to be a hot commodity in the offseason.
He will. Maybe somebody else can rescue him, but right there he's a mess.
But they made a mistake. You pushed your third-year starter out for these guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
You telling me Dylan Gabriel was not better than these guys?
By a lot.
And with a continuity?
By a lot.
And look, both of these guys should be better next year. Who's capable in their game of developing? I don't know. And just running this junior high offense, just running around, Kyler Murray type of stuff. That I don't know where you build off of that. Is he dangerous with his legs? Absolutely. I saw him run. But when you know you got to throw on third down, you're really bad. You're really bad.
Well, he's a freshman in his first start. Let's see if he gets better.
Well, but he's not good right now.
No, I'm not saying he's great right now.
They should have lost.
Better than the other. They should have lost. They should have lost. And you don't run your veteran quarterback out. People here should remember that when a number 1 quarterback's coming in next year and the quarterback you got is pretty good.
Nussmeier's going to stay?
I don't know.
Well, that's what you're saying.
You should want him to stay.
Yes, you want him to stay. He's good.
You would have thought that Oklahoma wanted Dylan Gabriel to stay, and they didn't. Mistake. Don't make that mistake.
Hand in the one in the hand, better two
Bird
in the bush, or something. Like
Yeah.
Wait. My 4-year 4-star is better than my freshman 5-star in the bush.
A bird in the hand is
that how it goes?
In the bush. Yes, that's the saying.
How stupid. Dylan Gabriel's not as good as Oregon as he was at Oklahoma.
No,
he's not.
The transition period has been harder than I thought.
It's just tough when you totally leave him. Don't forget our friends at Total Maintenance, one of South Louisiana's oldest and largest AC heating company since 1980. AC heating, generator installations, maintenance, service today, every day means same-day service. You'll never sleep hot over when Total Maintenance. Call them up at 480-1000. Call today, get service today. Been dealing with Lucas Ragusa for many, many years. Those Saints and Falcons, the first game back to the Dome after Katrina, I was with Lucas at that one. Was at the 2 divisional games on the way to the playoff games on the way to their Super Bowl in Miami. We're a factorized, authorized dealer at Total Maintenance for Carrier, American Standard, Dakin, and Rheem Products. Generators, authorized dealer at for Generac and Cummings as well. So we're covering both the Baton Rouge metro area and New Orleans areas, but we do not compromise our service at either. We got a completely different staff and office at both the Baton Rouge and New Orleans offices. Membership programs are smart. We cover all services with discounts and extended warranties. We'll let you know when it's time for you to be serviced, so you don't have to try and figure out if it's time for that or not. Total Maintenance, 480-1000, 480-1000.
Live at Big Mike's. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Bet. Lunch, 104.5.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Don't forget trivia tonight. The theme is true crime. You win gift cards, free food, free beer. I had a big time with this a couple of weeks ago with the Disney theme. Tonight it's true crime here at Big Mike's, also during Monday Night Football.
Well, we argued about the Oklahoma quarterback. You don't come back a little bit off of your high horse on Jackson Dart?
What high horse was on?
No, you were.
I thought he was good. I still think he's good. I don't think he's like the greatest quarterback I've ever seen, but I think he's good. I thought he was, he had a rough day Saturday, but, I mean, I still think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's, a supernatural quarterback or, an All-American or anything like that, but I thought he was good.
Okay.
You're saying
no,
you
scripted the first drive for him. He was flawless, and after that, he was like he was.
That was something
like it was his first start ever. With all of that experience, with that coach and that system putting him in, he's got to be better than that, and that's why I think he's just a little above average. As far as just how good he is. We talk about this a lot, and we've come a long way of realizing that, no, it's just not the quarterback. It's just his surroundings, his competition, what system he's in. A lot of things. I mean, Caleb Williams looks terrible. Well, he can be good because the chances he have a chance. Yeah. I mean, Bryce Young looked terrible. But, and Andy Dalton made him look better because he doesn't care.
I'm not sure Brock Purdy would have been as good in Chicago or Carolina.
100%. Sure.
Yeah.
But he's good there, right? But he's, and that's what I think Jackson Dart's been put in a favorable position with it. Did Matt Corral put up all kinds of numbers at Ole Miss?
They're very similar.
And then Kiffin's systems.
Very similar numbers.
And, he got a cup of coffee in the NFL, huh?
Gordy said he thinks that Kiffin is the best play scripter for the first 15 in college football. He said that on the post-game show. Yeah,
Dart I don't
disagree.
The scripted play 5 for 5 for 87 yards.
Yeah. Well, that's why when teams come out and they look like crap on their first 2 drives, you're like, wait a minute, these are supposed to be your favorite plays. I got with Carolina when Bryce Young comes out and airmails one of the. I mean, you've been practicing this play all summer. This is your opening salvo. Here's today's trivia, Jimmy. Army, Navy, Indiana, James Madison, Duke, BYU, UNLV, and Rutgers, all undefeated. We had that, right, on the bingo card. Navy, we've talked about. They're throwing the ball more. Indiana, love to coach, right? Signetti. And look, to follow up a win, to follow up and handle it with a little bit of maturity as a program, an emotional win, and take care of business. And they win by double digits. They were challenged a little bit in that Maryland game. And so, but, as it played on, they pull away and they win by double digits. They were tested. That's tough for a young, unproven program to kind of take those big wins in stride. First time since 1967. It's pre-Corso that Indiana's opened up 5-0.
They got Nebraska coming soon too. That'll be fun.
Duke. I think this is a little bit smoke and mirrors and schedule based, but they did fall behind 20-0 in North Carolina on Saturday and come back to win 21-20.
Watched every play. Had North Carolina +1. You could see it. I know. I definitely took Duke in game though, and plus 12.5.
At 20-0, did you think you were going to?
No. They had to show a sign first at 27.
Yeah.
Once at 27, then North Carolina gets in sort of, protect mode. But this was a horrible loss for Mac Brown. This was a little bit on game management. This is they just 2.5, almost 3/4, completely dominated Duke. I mean, this game, but they settled for some field goals along the way. But this is a bad loss that might, this Auburn loss. That's a bad loss, man. You're so much better than Oklahoma on Saturday, but you found a way to lose again. And it just, them boosters, they don't, even at North Carolina football, where it's number 2, it's not even close to number 1 on their campus. That's just like, man, we might have to move on. 17-0 at half.
Yeah, it's probably, if Mac Brown himself is questioning, and he came back and apologized for it after the Madison game, but it's okay. It's probably time. You came back, you had a nice run, a better run than I expected for a second act, and it's probably time.
Because in North Carolina, their defense did play with a little pride. I mean, they were shutting them out after giving up 70. Now, it wasn't all the defense. It was it was one of those days, if it could go wrong, it went wrong against James Madison. And so James Madison followed up their 70-point performance with 63. I don't care if they were playing Tuskegee. I mean, that's still pretty good.
Also on this undefeated list, they've been in D1 for about 15 minutes.
And so they play with some pride. They build their lead, but that's not a unit that's still very strong. You still got to be a little bit more aggressive. This was a class case where you sit on a lead, and it came back to bite you.
Vegas was the talk of the college football world because of the quarterback leaving last week and, the conference affiliation stuff and all that. Haj Malik Williams took over quarterback for UNLV. He accounted for over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns passing and running. And UNLV, you had this one. I think Troy had this one. A couple of other contributors had this one. I followed you on it. UNLV going to come out and play pissed off. They did. And ran Fresno, who's not terrible, right out of the building on Saturday. Give them credit.
Hawks to Luka. I mean, see ya. Don't let the door hit you in the ass. I mean, see ya. We're better with this guy, and they were better. I mean, you'd look in our buddy Tim Murray, explained to me, this was a neck-and-neck battle between these two transfer quarterbacks. One from Holy Cross and one from Campbell. But the team, and how about Nick Saban on game day? How he said, the team knows who should be starting.
Yeah.
You better find out as a coach. If you don't think he was talking about Atlanta in 2000 December, okay, because he said the similar tone that day, and I was in that press conference after they came back with Rohan in the second half against Georgia Tech. Helped to get the right left tackle in there as well, but still, it was, he said he learned something that day, and I mean, this team, this is their guy. He ain't worried about it. What were you offered? I don't know, 5, 10, 20,000. I don't know, but you're playing, and we want you to play. And they were so much better. Now, can they sustain it? Can they sustain? They can. Right. I do think they can sustain because so Luka's numbers were not good. His individual numbers. They were 3-0, and a quarterback gets more credit with a win than he should. Okay, but this guy provides more spark. They run the offense is more explosive with him, and they want to play for this guy more. So you're thrown into a position of leadership as a quarterback. Some embrace it, some don't. But this is a different team with them because they destroyed the toughest team on their schedule so far.
Real quick on the last two, Rutgers probably got fortunate Friday night. They were outgained by well over 200 yards and managed to win against Washington.
Now we're talking. Yes, yes.
BYU, though, was a genuine surprise to me. This was I missed this game.
They bum rushed them.
21-0 out the shoot at Baylor. They had beaten Kansas State a week before, but had gotten significantly outgained the game. It was kind of a funky game. They're 5-0, man, and they held on. Baylor came back. They held on to get a win. They're 5-0, and they're undefeated in the Big 12. which is a free-for-all kind of.
They went on the road on that Friday night and beat SMU. We didn't give it. SMU hasn't lost since.
Changed quarterbacks after that.
Kansas State, Kansas State bounces back and rolls. I mean, the three, in a log jam of a Big 12 race, we still said that Utah, Oklahoma State, and K-State were a little bit of a cut above the rest. But you see in teams like BYU, West Virginia, Iowa State, and Aranda's in trouble. You got to rebound. You lose with poor execution defending the Hail Mary in Boulder, and then you lose this one because they just dug themselves too big of a hole. They came back. They were back in the game, but they just dug themselves such a big hole. It was too much to get out of. And one of them was a turnover deep in their own territory. It was like, bam, it was 21-0 before my seat was warm at the Queen.
I came to watch just to make sure.
You were there before me.
I did. I beat you there.
Oh, man. The downtown coffee place was a little bit busy that day. Don't forget our friends at electricmanbatonrouge.com. Electrical work is not do-it-yourself type of stuff. Installations, lighting, electrical safety. Well, you got to give us a call at 372-5356. We're licensed, insured, free inspection, quality service, free estimates, friendly technicians, guaranteed schedule appointments, not going to hold you hostage all day long, going to give you a window, a small window that we're going to be in touch with you at that time. Hot deals as well. So, one of some of the great things we do, we're wiring updates. Your house is getting a little bit up in age. Outlets and wirings can be underrated as they might not scream once you're unplugged one device to be replaced with another. But although through time they can be outdated and turn into a fire and safety hazard, Electric Man will help you maintain and upgrade what you need with your wiring updates. ElectricManBatonRouge.com.
Live at Big Mike's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Trivia tonight here at Big Mike's. The true crime theme. They change up the themes every couple of weeks. True crime tonight when items off the menu, gift cards, and free beer. Truck or treat on October the 22nd. Bring the kids out for a great time in the parking lot. Lots of stuff. Spider-Man will be here. Candy and stuff for the kids. That's October the 22nd at 7 o'clock. All right, Jimmy. Fighting Joe Burrows get a win yesterday at Carolina. So their season's not completely dead. I think 0-4 kills your season, but
I still think it's going to be hard. I mean, that defense is.
It just keeps them alive.
It's not good, and it's banged up, and I just, it makes it for, Burrow and the offense they've got a high. They've got no room for error. Is what my point is. Now with their record and with their lack of defense, and Carolina moved the ball on them, but Dalton is his part. He's just going to throw. He's the gunslinger. The rifle, I mean, he's just slinging it around, man. He's going to make some mistakes. He's going to turn the ball over some. He's going to make some plays and turn it over as well. So certainly better, an upgrade. It gives him more of a chance to compete than what they were doing before with Bryce Young. But still, got to win on the road. I mean, just take care of business. So.
Who would you rather be right now, Kansas City or Baltimore? These teams played to open the season. Kansas City won it literally by a toenail, and they're 4-0, and the Ravens are 2-2. But last night, Baltimore ran Buffalo right out of the stadium, and the Chiefs, they held on to beat the Chargers. They lose Rashee Rice probably for the season. I haven't seen that officially yet.
Yeah, so it's going to be an extended period of time,
yes. They're already without Pacheco. Kelsey looks like a shell of himself. Who would you rather be right now?
Got a little spark yesterday.
He was a little bit better yesterday, but he just not – he don't look like Kelsey, and I'm not even going to blame it on Taylor Swift. The guy's getting older. He's got a lot of miles on the odometer.
That's part of it, though.
It is.
You're going to compromise your conditioning if you're on that lifestyle tour.
Who you got more faith in right now, the 4-0 Chiefs or the 2-2 Ravens?
I mean, I'll take the champs, man. Because
and with Mahomes and Reed, that's still reasonable. They still got those two guys.
They've been unimpressive, but they're 4-0. And how many times do we have to see when they get into the playoffs? I mean, we're talking about in some game, some nondescript game in November. We're talking about winning the whole thing.
It's a great point. They put the stat up on the screen last night. I think they said something about Red Scare. I know Buffalo's record, except when they play Kansas City. Baltimore's record, except when they play Kansas City. They beat the hell out of everybody else, but when they play the Chiefs, they're in a bind. But boy, Baltimore,
it's important for them to get Pacheco back, though, because even though they lost that top cornerback, they kind of slid their nickel back out to the outside, and he's doing really well as well. This is a defensive team. It's a defensive ball control team, and that's when they finally changed things after they did nothing on Christmas Day against the Raiders. But that's when, we think of Mahomes, the high flying and things. And, yeah, he popped Worthy for a long one. But, you were talking about the fantasy stuff with Worthy and stuff. Is he going to get enough touches? And this is a creative coach. But his touches are he's a home run threat, but he's kind of a 180 hitter. Hitting some home runs. There's a lot of inactivity in between those big plays. And he'll get better. Those are creative,
sure.
but it just, I don't know how dependable every third down, and his left tackle he's not comfortable with. He's looking over his shoulder, and that hadn't been the case for quite some time, and that's affecting some things. So they're ugly. But when the game's on the line, man, who you going to trust more?
No, it's still Mahomes. He had the ugly pick yesterday. Kirsten Fulton, former LSU guy.
Oh, is that right? You got it?
Yeah. Carson Steele had taken over for Pacheco. He fumbled yesterday. They benched him.
It's 3 weeks in a row now.
Yeah. Wouldn't be surprised. In fact, I'd be surprised if it's not Kareem Hunt that will activate next week when the Saints go to play.
He gave him 70 yards yesterday?
Yeah, something along those lines. I'm sure he'll be the guy. And P. Ryan is a very nice third down back. Baltimore last night snapped. The Bills had gone 43 consecutive regular season games without a loss by more than 6 points.
So much for the Wong teaser there.
Teaser heaven comes. Everything's got to come to an end. 43 consecutive games, and it's the year of the veteran running back, Derrick Henry. Saquon Barkley, Aaron Jones in Minnesota, all these guys that, these Alvin Kamara, these veteran backs that are having these really, really good starts to the season.
Baltimore immediately kind of revealed Buffalo's weakness. So with a lot of the injuries that they've had on defense too, Allen just been so damn good, and they defended him a little bit yesterday. But I mean, there's a Les Miles approach play. I mean, this was as basic power running play. You want to just move the pile, maybe get 4, 5, 6 yards, and he goes 85, 87. I mean, what you gonna? I mean, and look kind of light on his feet. Run. I guess when you run 87 yards, I guess you do. But he was. I don't know. You just from there, and so when Baltimore can play in front, and when they can. Jackson doesn't have to reduce when you can stay committed to your running game. And, Buffalo doesn't want any part of a power running game. Did you see the graphic they put up? They got one starter remaining from their projected 11. Due to injury.
Wow.
From last year, the playoffs. I mean, they've lost. They have been gutted. And we talked about what Allen had been so good and just, okay, we're just forgetting about all that. Well, Baltimore reminded us that they are playing with some guys that they didn't have intentions of starting on defense or to start the year.
I said the biggest gut punch in all of football this weekend came for Ole Miss, but I'd put the Jets a close second. That was the ugliest game all weekend. You would
beautiful.
Think. I've never seen a quarterback complete 7 passes and have negative yards passing.
He had -7 at half.
He completed 7 passes for -7 yards, Bo Nix, which is hard to do, and the Jets still couldn't beat Denver. Okay, I mean, you got Aaron Rodgers.
How much is that on Peyton? This is his handpicked guy.
This is what they're throwing. I don't know if the rain or whatever, but because he looked a lot better last week in Tampa, he had a really nice game in Tampa.
Got off to a good start.
And here, like I said, weather related, Jets defense related, whatever. Not only did the Jets lose yesterday to a quarterback who was throwing the ball backwards, but they benched Breece Hall. who's supposed to be, one of their guys.
Well, they've been leaning on Allen anyway.
They have been,
You know?
and Garrett Wilson is basically invisible.
Well,
right now.
he and everybody else. Okay, fourth straight game that Patrick Surtain Jr. holds his the number one option, the receiver, to under their total by a lot.
And
so I think in 4 games and 4 number ones, he's given up total of 75 yards.
That's fair, but Wilson's got less than 200 yards for the season, and that's supposed to be their guy. And man,
Hunt had 69 yesterday, so right at 70. Yeah.
All right. Here at Big Mike's, again, trivia tonight, DJ Cowboy Chris this Saturday, and $1 shots on game day here at Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill. Back to wrap it up. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
We close with a sad note, the passing of Dikembe Mutombo, 58 years old, of brain cancer. Jimmy, we both watched him in college at Georgetown. He was in a long line of those dominant Georgetown centers after Ewing and Alonzo Mourning.
Well, he was the two-headed monster with Alonzo Mourning.
Yeah, that's right. They played together for at least one season, if not two.
Multiple.
Yeah. Second leading shot blocker in the history of the NBA. Only Hakeem Olajuwon blocked more shots than Mutombo did in his NBA season. Played 18 years in the league, but I'll always think of him as a nugget for when they pull that big upset when they were the 8th seed and Seattle was the number 1 seed.
It was a 5-game series.
It was a 5-game series.
So that was Game 5.
And Mutombo was the centerpiece of that
cradling
that
the
Nuggets
ball
team. Yeah, him laying flat on his back, cradling the ball. And he was one of the biggest game alterers as far as a defensive player that the NBA's ever seen. His offensive game was obviously pretty limited, but his presence on the defensive end may have altered more shots than anybody. Like Olajuwon, of course, but his shot blocking was legendary.
Charlie, you know where you were when you had those. So that was a first Saturday in May. I was at Churchill Downs at the Kentucky Derby. When kind of somebody had it on TV for a little bit, like, oh man, they might go down, and then that visual of him cradling the ball after getting that last stop against Seattle in that Game 5 win at 1 versus 8 matchup. More credit to guys like Christian Laettner, Mutombo, and Mourning were both on that Georgetown team that Duke played in the regional final, the Elite 8, and beat them. And Laettner had an unbelievable day against those two. I mean, that was hell of a rotation there. And just on a lighter, I mean, I loved when he does the finger
the commercials were so funny.
No.
He was so funny.
When he'd block that ball and that long-ass finger boy, and he'd wave it back.
The commercials were great. Yeah.
I love that.
No, he had a great spirit, a real joy to him, and gone too soon at the age of 58. Thanks to the folks here at Big Mike's for being our host today. Trunk or Treat on October the 22nd. Bring the kids out at 7 o'clock. DJ Cowboy Chris this Saturday, and trivia tonight with the True Crime is the theme here tonight on Aspen Square. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.